Seconds behind the leaders. The USA once again having a good leg thanks to Lau Bailey, but never happy that they're not confident enough to put their best athletes last, Mike. They're a big nation now. Surely that should be the tactic they employ.
You certainly need to have a good anchor leg, but I suppose you still have to also stay with the race. There's no point in being a minute behind if you're the USA after the first leg, so that's obviously their thinking in the running order.
Tim Burke on the second leg for USA. Norway down in ninth, only 33, so tightly bunched, certainly between fourth and ninth position. I think we'll see a few changes there. The Ukrainians have established a pretty comfortable lead. That is 2 spare rounds advantage that they've got over the rest of the field at the moment. Belarus down in 12. Here come Great Britain, 14th place, 122. That's a shame. I thought Kevin Kane might be able to get within a minute of the winner of that first leg, but it's not the case. He's dropped some almost 30 seconds on the last loop, Mike, but take nothing away. That was a great shooting performance from him.
It's a great performance. Yeah, I think he may have had a fall on that last loop to lose just a little too much time. He was, remember, only 38 seconds behind. But this is an inspired performance from the Ukrainian team. Of course, the women last night were inspired as well to take the victory.
Can Ukraine win it? Semenov, Sednev, Bremer, Derizemlia taking the ankle leg. He's very, very experienced, so if they can shoot as well as they have done so far, it could well be the case. Germany now starting to make ground. Eric Lesser, Pfeiffer, Bernbacher. Well, it was going to be Bernbacher, but he's been replaced by Florian Graf. That's a big blow. Andy Bernbacher, he's not ill, but he's got a bit of a cold, like many of us over the Christmas period, and it's just not worth the risk. If it gets into the lungs and the chest, then it would ride him out for a couple of rounds of the World Cup. So I hope we see Bernbacher in action over the weekend.
John Garland's pulled back already a couple of seconds.
From 33 to 31, not a massive gain at this stage, which is probably good news.
This is a tricky bit, and you mentioned how it may become a little more difficult as the race goes on, but it's still holding firm.
Slightly slower corner here, but this is the tricky one. So back down towards the lowest part of the course, and then they take a gradual right-hand turn as we have a look at a slow-mo of the corner. You can see the effect of the salt there, but already the skis are starting to dig grooves at least 2.5, 3 centimetres deep, and it will only get worse as this race goes on. Well, here's a burst and a half coming from the Czech Republic. Andrej Moravec has upped his game at a risky time, Mike, coming back up towards the stadium and shoot number 1 of leg number 2.
He really has picked it up. I'm so impressed with the Estonian team, ranked 15th, up into the 4th position at the moment, chased by Germany.
Tidy technique from Eric Lesser at the front of this group, just traced by Tim Burke and then Oleina Bjorndalen. Up towards the stadium, and then they turn left and head out a little bit further out onto the tracks before they start the approach towards the range. How do you compare this? We know about Antolz, where we go at the end of January. That's a tough one because it's a big climb at altitude, hard range to cope with. Ruhpolding, fast downhill, left-hand turn to cope with, but essentially a pretty easy run-in. How do you compare Oberhof on the tour?
Oberhof is difficult because it's deceptive. It's flat, so you think this is an easy entry, but you tend not to back off. It's easy skiing because it's flat, and also that's why we're seeing initially in the first pro and on the first leg, so many people finding it difficult. I think the first race after a break at Christmas, nerves are jangling a little. Visibility is playing its part, but I do think they came in way above the comfort zone.
And the other factor here in Oberhof, Mike, that the last 500-600 metres of the track is lined with fans. You can't help but get a little bit excited. Difficult to race your own race in those situations, but it also gives you a lot of time to think about the consequences of what's about to happen.
Look, when you've got 18,000 people, you can feel them almost breathing on you. And then it goes quiet. And then you hear the cheering, obviously, for the German team.
Now, I don't imagine there's going to be too much response to the hits and misses of Sednev. What he would like to do is get settled, get a couple of targets down before this group of 4 get anywhere near the range. And, of course, the Russians as well, who are slightly further up the track.
Darlin just bouncing his old technique, his old spark seems to be back big time.
The Czech Republic, Russia, Estonia, America, Germany, Norway, and at the back of that group in bright yellow, Slovakia with Matthias Kazar.
Tim Burke looks, for me, really comfortable. He's easy, it looks effortless, and his shooting at the at the big display races in the Veltins Arena in Dusseldorf, he was shooting well.
Bjorn Dahlen looks very comfortable as well at that pace, Mike. I wonder whether he's decided to be a little conservative. There'll be some nerves in the stomachs of the Norwegian fans who made the journey to Oberhof, and many of them do. So, what sort of a response is Sednev going to get? And how will he respond to that response? We'll find out in the next few seconds. Everyone looking for a vantage point.
Statistically, Sednev is the best in the prone position. He's a 96% hit rate. He's only 69% hit rate in the stand.
OK, we've got a bit of mist. There's nothing significant about the wind. He's gone for a change, 2 clicks anti-clockwise.
He had adjusted for the wind, which his coaches would have told him from the previous time in.
There's the first miss from the Ukrainian team. And still, no other team has struck. So 1 spare round required. Germany taking their time to get their first round away. Russia 4 out of 4. Very, very quick shooting from the Russian team. And, of course, Garanichev, who's on the course for them. Norway go clear. Bjorn Dahlen, 5 out of 5 for him. Germany 5 out of 5. USA and Tim Burke 5 out of 5. With much better standard than we saw in the first round. And things are starting to settle down now. It's a similar pattern to last night's race with the women. So Ukraine led into the first shoot and the second, and they leave the range after the third shoot in first place. So all those changes that we were expecting yet to happen.
Moravec, normally this season so good in the prone, he's taking a long time, and he needs to get the last shot. It paid off.
Penalty loop for Estonia after a really good start from the Estonians, so that might be the last we see of them. It's only 27 seconds separating the top 6. Now, the big teams further down the order, Mike...
Austria coming in.
Yeah, what about Sweden? I know they haven't got Bjorn Ferry, who's decided to stay at home and train. Interestingly, we did mention Suman missing from the Austrian team. He's not ill. He just decided that he never gets any good results here in Oberhof. He had a look at his career. He said, I never get anything that makes me happy. I'm going to stay at home and train. Had a chat with the coaches in the Austrian team, and they said, that's fine. Save yourself for Ruhpolding and, of course, Antots and Kaselva.
I suppose with all those years of experience, the coaches have to respect his opinion. And he's training at home, and it's... that's what he wants. We've got a problem here from Team 8. That's the Italian Dominic Vindish. Unusual.
That's a shame. That is a shame. Not the way you want to try and defend your title. So will he get a spare rifle?
I didn't see what happened. He should ski over. If he wants a spare rifle, he has to ski over and pick the spare rifle up. What is his problem?
He's got a round jammed in the breech.
Lee Jackson for Great Britain is down to his last round with 1 target still standing. He forgot his arm cuff. Unbelievable. This rain, you know, you have to change your clothes before you... Really, you get so wet in the zero, and he's forgot to put his arm support cuff on.
Well, how many bottles of red wine is that going to cost him with the team tonight? That's a bad mistake from Vindish.
Well, in my 28 years around biathlon, I've never seen that before. And it is because of the rain and then the changing of the ski suit or the underclothing, and he's just forgotten simply to put his arm cuff on.
Just thinking of similar incidents in winter sport. If we go to Liberec for the Nordic World Championships and the American Nordic combined team, Mike, I think they forgot one of their bibs and missed out on the medal on that occasion.
It happens. We saw it on the Tour de Ski, where you get driven to the start of another race, and you get issued your bibs the evening before. You've got to be so organised as a biathlete, as a cross-country athlete as well. What a pity for the British team. That's Jacko Lee Jackson. I think he's on the penalty loop.
No, I think he may well be. One target indicated as still missing, but no penalty has come up on the computer as yet. I know he was having problems with that last target, which will certainly push the Brits further down the order.
Well, Bjorn Dahlen, that's quite amazing. He started, it was 33 seconds behind. He's now just gone ahead of the Ukrainian.
Oliana Bjorn Dahlen yet to get a win this season. Certainly from the emails we're getting, many of you hoping that he does get a few. I think that's a little ambitious, 1 or 2 maximum. Nowadays, Mikey has to rely on the big guns, the youngsters, making mistakes. He's still producing very solid performances, but if Svensson or Martin Fourcade put in a faultless run, Bjorn Dahlen is just a little bit behind them.
He has lost maybe a little of his skiing, but, well, let's see. Has he lifted it again? It certainly looks like it to this point from the Christmas break. He likes training at his own preferred locations, and that works so much for Bjorn Dahlen. Recharges his mind, his body.
America go from 7th up to 4th on this second leg so far. Good gains by Tim Burke, 8.9 off the leaders. At the previous exchange, we'll try and tell you exactly how far the Americans were behind. Looks as though they had a gap of some 30 seconds, so a really good performance from Tim Burke. The #1 team and Mike's hot tip for this evening now have the lead with Oliana Bjorn Dahlen, Ukraine in second, Russia are still there in third, only 6 or 7 seconds off the pace of the leaders. USA, Germany, Slovakia all in the top 6, and a bit of a margin back to the Czech Republic, who are over 35 seconds behind at the last of the checkpoints. So, second shoot, second leg. Who will be leading at the halfway stage? The wind has pretty much died away altogether.
I just get the feeling that when he's established his position, these shots are going to be fast from Bjorn Dahlen.